Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Fecund Maiden, but since we're friends, you can call me Tanisha. And today is all about orgasmic open hips. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, then let's get started. Today, we are focusing on opening our hips, releasing tension in the hips, creating flexibility in the hips and the pelvic floor and the lower back and the hip flexors and the glutes. All of these places we are showing love to today. And I can't guarantee you'll have an orgasm, but I can guarantee to raise the probability of you having an orgasm, which you deserve. Do you not? I deserve it. You deserve it. We all deserve decadent orgasms. So, in order to do that, baby, tight hips, not gonna work. Not gonna work. So, get seated on your yoga mat, get your water, get your vibes, get your shakti magic, and take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. I want to hear on the other side of the screen your breath going in through your nose, coming out through your mouth. We're releasing any groan, any moan, any Grinch scream, any sigh of relief. When we inhale, exhale out of the mouth, we're releasing all tension. At your own pace, we're inhaling through the nose. Audibly drawing in air, holding it in for just a bit before exhaling out of the mouth. Letting whatever moan and groan ooze out of you, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Sitting comfortably in our pelvic floor, we are going to open up the legs, open up the legs, open up the hips, open up the pussy. I'm just kidding. I'm not. I just want to be polite. As we open up our legs, bringing our legs out into a natural open stance. Mine are about a 45-degree angle right now. And I do not want to show too much of the bottoms of my feet, y'all. Let me get closer. Hold up. Let me get closer to the camera. I really don't want to show my feet. There's people out there, that be wanting to see my feet, and I'm like, no, my sexy little feet that y'all love so much, you can't see them. Okay, so bringing your feet out to wherever is comfortable, we are going to focus on how we are sitting in our pelvic bone. And this entire pelvic region, this entire yoni pussy place on your body, this entire area of lower belly fat, the top of your vulva, the muscles that connect your legs to your torso, your butt, your lower back, and your groin, all of this family of body parts we're focusing on today. For orgasmic open hips, you want to have happy hamstrings, happy lower back, happy tummy. When all those things are happy, our hips can open with ease. So as we're sitting, I want you to take note of how it feels in your pelvic bone to have your ass, quite frankly, planted onto the ground. You're not weebling, you're not wobbling, you are evenly distributed as if a pole was coming through your body like you were a ballerina in a ballerina box. If a pole was coming through your body, you would be completely planted right through the center of your body. And notice any tension, any discomfort, any comfortability. Does it feel good to sit like this? Just take note of these things without too much attachment and let them go, because it's going to change anyway by the time we get to the end of this practice. Bringing our hands to our hips, we're going to lightly use our body weight to give our hips a little bit of activation. So I'm just kind of lifting my chest, bringing my chest down, doing some chest circles, and that is waking up this front of the hip flexors. As I go to the side, it's waking up my lower back. So doing these chest circles in whatever middle semi-split feels good to you. We're starting very slowly at our own pace, but definitely slowly and tenderly for those amazing, magical hips you have. We would never rush into your beautiful open hip space. So taking our sweet, slow, precious time, we are doing circles. I invite you to do cat-cows in this position if that feels good. Simply tilting the pelvic bone just a bit. We're not getting off of posture, but we can tilt the pelvic bone in just a tad bit and tilt it out just a tad bit. As you can see how that affects my stomach when I tilt in. Get my belly rolls. When I tilt out, I extend my torso. And as you do these cat-cows, and as you do these chest circles, I want you to notice how when we move our upper body, it completely affects our lower body. And how we cannot move our torso in this position, in a straddle with our legs out. We can't move our torso without our root chakra, without our Muladhara chakra being affected. This is really important in yoga as we continue to move at our own pace, using our own patterns, because without that grounded root chakra, what do you have? You know what you have. You guys are really good at this. You have nothing. If your foundation doesn't feel good, your heart doesn't feel good, your mind doesn't feel good, and you deserve to feel good. So you know where we're going? I don't need to know which of your chakras don't feel good, because you know where we're starting no matter what, no matter how good you feel, no matter how bad you feel. You know where we're starting? We're all starting at the root. So getting really comfortable, being aware of how it feels to have your genitals on the ground as you sit and you move through these cat and cows or through your chest circles. How does it feel to have your pussy pressed against this yoga mat, baby? Hope you're feeling good, because I am. And as we are opening the hips, we're going to stop for a moment, pick up your glutes, and really get a little bit deeper into your stretch. And since I have my feet out, I'm just coming a little bit deeper into a straddle for now. Continuing to move intuitively and let your body guide you if it wants to go side to side, if your body wants to go up and down, cat and cow. But we are getting deeper into this straddle position that we started off with. And in your next deep inhale through the nose, exhale out of your mouth, and come into our first deep stretch of the practice. Stretching your arms out on the yoga mat until you get to a space that feels comfortable for today, as low as you can go. We're going to rest here for a moment. Focusing on the breath. Focusing on how much time it took to get into our first deep stretch. Resting here for another breath in and out. Bringing in the legs just a bit before they get sore. Because I don't want to bend you into a pretzel today, baby. I want you to unlock that yoni magic today. So bringing in the legs before we get too deep into a splits practice. We're going to bring in the legs and just bring them in and plant your feet to the yoga mat, but bring in your knees kind of to your chest. As much as you can bring in your legs without like getting off your posture and leaning back, okay? So continuing to sit in your pelvic bone, bringing in the legs, bringing in the knees, keeping the feet planted on the yoga mat. I just don't want to show it because if I put this on YouTube, baby, you understand. You know I'm a sexy goddess. So with our feet still planted on the yoga mat and our knees up to our chest, we're going to slowly open our legs into a butterfly position and then bring them back up to a knee up position, all as we're sitting upright. So if you need to lower your legs and bend them less so that you can sit up in your torso correctly with correct posture, I want you to do that, okay? Because it does not matter how high your knees are. It just matters how much we're going to open our legs into our butterfly and then back up to knees up, okay? Cool. With knees up, we're placing our hands at our knees so that we can really have extra tender care on our bodies. We're going to slowly open the legs out, open the knees out. The feet will begin to lift off the yoga mat and open up. And allow your knees to open into a butterfly position that just feels completely natural. As turned out as your legs are super soft, if you were just laying in bed and your legs created a butterfly position, how far out would they be? This is where we're starting for today. And in that butterfly position, I want you to slowly and intentionally roll your feet, your legs, your knees back up into a standing position, not a standing, but an upright position, back where we started. Feet comfortably planted on the ground, knees bent and soft and up, pointed to the ceiling. Take a deep breath here. through the nose. Letting out any moans and groans as we slowly release our legs back down into our butterfly position. Naturally opening them up. We're not pressing. We're not even really actively stretching at this point. We're becoming comfortable with our natural range of motion. And we're taking note of that. Sliding our hands down to our ankles or shins, we are going to move into an active stretch by bringing in the feet a little bit closer to the groin. So feet are actually touching now, if that feels good in your body. And it's totally okay if your knee cracks or whatever, as long as your knees feel comfortable in a butterfly position. We aren't going to stay here very long, but if not, you don't have to bring your feet in this close to the body. But sitting here with our feet together, legs butterflied out, hands on our legs, on our shins, on our ankles, definitely holding on to the body as we do this practice, always giving our body that extra little bit of support that it can have by having our hands present and guiding our slow, direct placement of our legs. And in this butterfly position, I want to bring you back to the state of consciousness and how you felt in your pelvic bone when we were sitting with our legs out in a straddle. Your body is doing the same exact thing that it was just a few moments ago, but now your legs are drawn in and your hips are opened even more. Take note of how it feels in your butterfly position. As we take a deep breath in through the nose together, baby. Feel that juicy prana coming in as you exhale. Let go of any moans and groans that need to leave your beautiful body. I invite you to lean your chest forward as much as feels comfortable for today, of course, always, and to the side. So we can go side, side, front, so leaning the chest forward as far as possible, and then back to neutral, which is just having the chest and the torso upright. So we can slide the chest over to the right, sliding it forward, sliding it over to the left, and then neutral to create these really buttery chest circles again in a butterfly. Oh, that feels so good. And reverse. Oh my goodness. I might be cracking and popping a little bit, but I feel really good. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Slowly push your feet back out. Straightening your legs just a bit more. Before we take our hands and give our bodies that extra support, taking our hands behind our knees, bringing the legs back up, bringing the knees back up, pointing back up to the ceiling. Our feet are planted again onto the yoga mat. And bringing your feet a little bit back. We are now leaving our posture and we're getting up off the floor into our first squat. Right down here on the ground, right down here in a goddess squat. So not moving far from the floor. And I'm just readjusting myself for this camera right here. We're coming into our first goddess squat, really close to the floor. I mean, my butt is maybe just an inch or two above the ground, and I'm focusing on sitting in my pelvic bone. It's okay if you're not down here, if it's not comfortable to get into a low goddess squat. That's totally fine. But do get down into a squat, and if your heels are lifting up off the ground, that's okay. They'll get closer to the ground as you get stronger over time and more flexible. So in your goddess squat, we are really going to intentionally use our elbows to push out our knees. Not because the knees need to be stretched, but when we push out our knees, these two muscles right here in our groin that I'm directing to, that basically connect our legs to our groin, get open and activated when the legs are pushed out from the knee. So sitting in your goddess squat, let those elbows push out your knees a little bit and open up those hip bones and the muscles of your groin. I recommend doing this against a wall if you are still building up your balance, and even having a handy dandy pillow at hand. Sitting here in our goddess squat, I want you to take a note of how it feels. How does it feel in your lower back? How does it feel in your tummy? How does it feel on your legs, on your knees? In your groin area, is it tight? Which side is it tight on? As if you were a lover giving your other lover a massage, and your bae was like, oh, my lower back, can you get my lower back? Would you forget it? I don't think so. So as you would a lover, I want you to take note of all of these things in your body that may be tight, and without attachment or judgment, take note of it so you can come back and love on this part of your body. Bringing in the legs, lifting up out of our goddess squat just a little bit onto the balls of our feet. We can bring the knees down, and we're gonna come completely out of our goddess squat for just a moment and come onto all fours, knees and hands, tabletop position. And as we are super warmed up in our hips, we're going to do some of the practices that are the most effective if you practice them every day. If you make a consistent ritual with these movements that I'm going to show you, I know you're going to have open hips, and I can almost damn guarantee that you're having orgasms. So as we get up on our knees and hands, we're going to swivel the hips from side to side, swiveling our weight to one knee, swiveling to the center, our body weight to the center, swiveling the hip to the other side. The other leg is mostly holding on to our body weight. And then we're swiveling back to the center. And we're going to go side to side with the hips. Side, 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 keeping the hands planted into the yoga mat. Side, side, side. And this is all very even, all very horizontal. So your hip bone is just going side to side. There is no up and down. There is no infinity loop. It's just straight side to side, as even as you can keep on your back. So if I had a plate or a basket on my back, it wouldn't tip over because we're just going side to side. And then we're going to go up and down, which, you know, girl, is sitting your hips down, 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 down. Almost like you were about to go into a child's pose, but we're not lowering the head down. We're just coming down with our hips into a child's pose-like position. And then we're hinging the hips back up into a tabletop position. So going through a flow of up and down, we're bringing the hips down, touching our butt to our feet. It almost looks like we're going to go into a child's pose, but we come back up into a tabletop. Down with the hips, slowly. Taking deep breaths in. Coming back up to a tabletop. And for all of my divine shaktis that want to use the glamour magic, use the fertility goddess magic of yoga, of doing this practice, of doing this love ritual to yourself, I want you, slutty little whores, my special ones out there, to squeeze the fuck out of your glutes. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. As you go down, squeeze your glute, squeeze your glute, squeeze your glute. And then once you get down, you can rest the hips. Just rest the hips. We take a deep breath here when we rest. Exhale out of the mouth. And as you slowly come up, you're gonna activate those glutes. Rise your hips back up into a tabletop position. And this is for creating that hourglass. I'm talking about this is gonna fill you out from the side, from the back, tightening your glutes, actively communicating to those muscles, releasing them as we come down into our half child's pose is what I'll call it for today. In our next deep inhale, we're squeezing the glutes up, hinging back into our tabletop position. One more deep breath in here. Out through the mouth. Taking the right leg, we're going to bring it through the center into a pigeon's pose. So bringing the leg and bending the knee in front of us. We don't have to go too deep into a pigeon's pose, but I like to do this contrasting position. Anytime we've done a lot of activation with the glute, we've been squeezing the glutes, we've been growing our hips, we've been opening our hips, the front part of our body and our hip flexors and our groin muscles often get neglected in that. So as we come into a pigeon, starting on whichever leg you desire, straightening that knee, creating that nice 90-degree angle with our front leg, we're going to lean our body weight forward into this pigeon position. It feels so good to stretch this front part of the hip flexor. That is what I'm focusing on. And also, sometimes you can get a good outer glute stretch with this pigeon position, but I recommend that you give yourself a few little wiggles and movements in pigeon, just opening the hips intuitively, going side to side if that feels good. Getting down lower with your chest in a pigeon pose can also feel good. It's really up to your own range of motion and what you desire out of this practice today. Ooh. As we stay here in pigeon, and as we unlock the front of our glutes, or the back of our glutes, the front of our hip flexors, the side of our legs, the side of our glutes, our lower back, we're focusing on opening up and massaging any little area that doesn't feel loose. If it doesn't feel loose already, that is a place that you should treat tenderly in an open hips yoga practice. So as I find just a little bit of tension in this front hip flexor, I know that I'm not going to go any lower, and I'm just going to continue to do this little rocking side to side position that I found is working in my body right now. And I'm going to rock side to side, give my hip flexor the tiniest, most precious, gentle massage before switching over to the other leg and our next deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. Bring the legs together. Switching sides to your pigeon on your other leg. Really making sure we have a good 90-degree angle from the knee with our front leg. And as we bring our back leg back, taking note wherever it feels good to set your body weight. If it feels good to come down really low in your pigeon, whatever works for you today, I'm really proud of you. Especially proud of you for clicking on a YouTube video that said orgasmic open hips. You totally deserve it. So as we do our slow, minute movements for our body in our pigeon, if we're needing a little more in our glutes, we're showing more love to our glutes. If we need a little bit more in our hip flexors, we're rolling out our hip flexors. Whatever you're doing right now in this yoga practice, just know that you are the only person doing that. No one else in this yoga practice has opened their hips exactly like you have. And that's really unique and precious. As we take our last deep inhale here. Exhale out of the mouth. Take a note of how you're feeling right now. Deep breath in and out. We're going to bring the legs back together, coming back into a seated position. And then working from our seated position back into our goddess squat, coming back up on the feet. Okay. Ooh, this goddess squat feels different the second time around, baby. Coming into our goddess squat. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Out through the mouth. in through the nose. Out through the mouth. Lifting up your knees or your feet or your ankles intuitively. Rocking side to side intuitively if that feels good. Even you can give yourself a little bounce if that feels good to open up the hips. Bouncing, 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 bouncing. You really need a lot of balance for that one. But we are continuing to use our feminine intuition. Doesn't matter what type of body you are in, your intuition is a feminine force. So using our intuition, we are allowing our body to communicate to us what it wants us to do. We start off with a base and we tell our body, okay, body, I'm gonna put you into a squat. What would make you feel the best in this squat? And you start to listen. And your body maybe wants you to press your elbows into your knees, get a little bit deeper as we take a deep breath in. Out through the mouth. And this is how we build the intimacy that leads to orgasm. Not only does it feel really good to have an orgasm when your pelvic floor is relaxed, your pussy isn't tight, you just feel from a place of surrender and trust, but also the intimacy of the yoga practice, of listening to yourself, of intentionally listening to your breath. Those are the things that become incredibly erotic and lead also to orgasmic pleasure. So not only do you deserve to feel good in your body physically, but you deserve to feel good in your body emotionally. Taking our last deep breath here through the nose. Oh, out through the mouth. Releasing all of those moans and groans. Coming back down onto our butt, so we're just sitting down. Plop your butt down. Draw your legs out. Bring them out in front of you. Give them a little wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Give your legs some wiggle. Tap with your hands, your legs, starting anywhere you want, starting with your inner thighs. Tapping your knees. Tapping the tops of your shins. Tapping your ankles and your feet and your toesies, your cute toesies. Tap those precious body parts. And ground yourself back into your legs, into your body, into your open pelvic hips that now feel amazing. Amazing. If y'all want a super advanced open hip stretch, let me know, because this was more beginner intermediate. And if y'all are feeling good after today, I've got some more tricks up my sleeve. So let me know how you're feeling in the comments after this practice. If you have an orgasm, girl, let me know. That's a blessing. Let's take a last few deep inhales together, shall we? Thank you for being here with me today and practicing with me today. Deep breath in through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose one more time. And out through the mouth. I hope you are feeling completely refreshed. I hope that you have an orgasm shortly after this. And I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Let me know in the comments how this feels. Let me know what this brings up. Let me know what abundance and magnetism meets you after you've prioritized having a yoga practice solely for you. I love you. Okay, bye.